Good morning, class. We're going to go over the distributive properties. So we're going to apply the distributive property, go over examples, and then we're going to use it for combining like terms. So first example, or first, what is the distributive rule? What it means, if I have a number on the outside of parentheses, I multiply that number by what's on the outside, or by what's on the inside. So I go A times B, and then A times C. A times B is just AB. A times C would be AC. Doesn't matter what the sign is, the sign will still stay the same, regardless. Okay? The other way you could say, if it's on, it doesn't matter if it's on the right-hand side of your parentheses or on the left-hand side or right-hand side. So if I just had this B plus C times A, then I'd multiply A times C and A times B, and I would get the same thing. So it doesn't matter what side, we'll still multiply by both things. So, I'll go, want to skip over this. All it's saying is that we can write multiplication another way. So this is why we use the distributive property. If I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, I can just write it as 4 times 3. If I have negative x minus x, that's 2 of them, so it's 2 times, and they're both negative x. Okay? I have 1, 2, 3, so I go 3 times 2y, which would be 6y. I have 4 minus x, so I have 2 of those, so I go 2 times 4 minus x. And now we use the distributive property, 2 times 4, 2 times x. Now we have 1, 2, 3, so it would be 3. There's a negative on that side, so negative 3 times 8 plus y. And there is a negative there. Then we go negative 3 times 8, negative 3 times y. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. Negative 3 times y is negative 3y. So it's just another way, multiplication, how we group things together. Now we can use our distributive property. So, write down these examples. What I encourage you to do is I'll go through the first couple, then you try to do the rest on your own. So I'm going to go through them pretty quickly so you can just pause it, try to do the rest on your own. So we go 4 times A and 4 times 2. 4 times A is 4A, 4 times 2 would be 8. So we'd have 4A plus 8. Keep the sign the same. Big check is negative, so negative 8 times B would be negative 8B. And then negative 8 times, if you look at, there's a negative sign in front of 3, or a minus sign, so it means it's negative. So negative times a negative makes it positive. So I went negative 8B plus 24. That negative right here, switch the signs of those. Here it's on the right-hand side, still same thing. 5 times x, 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Or you could say minus 15. On the right-hand side, does it change anything? Y times negative 10, negative 10y. Y times x, negative xy. Or you can just keep the sign the same, doesn't change it. On the outside up here, 30 times x, 30x. 30 times 4, 120. Keep the sign the same. So 30x minus 120. Now we have fraction. So just understand, we're going to go negative 2 times 3 halves, or negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6, divided by 2, which gives me negative 3. And then negative 2 times x, which is going to switch the sign. So I multiplied by negative, so it switches the sign. This was positive, now it's negative. This was a positive sign, or this was a negative sign, now it's positive. And last, if you multiply by a variable, we just go b times x, which is bx, b times y, which is by. Combining like terms. So in order for something to be like terms, they have to have the same variable, same exponent. So like terms up here. It would be right here, 8yx, xy. Doesn't matter if the order switched on the variables. They both have an x, they both have a y. So those would be like terms. I could come here and say negative 9y squared and 15y squared. They both have y squareds. If you look at it, x and x squared aren't like terms because this is an x, but this has an exponent of 2. But you could combine it with your other x squared term. Then you look at it, Can I combine an x and a y? No, not same variable. But I could combine negative 25 and 2. They're both numbers. So that would be my last example of like terms there. So we'll go through examples of combining like terms. So I have x and plus 2x. So there's a 1 in front, so I just add the numbers together. 1 plus 2 is 3. Keep it the same variable, x. So your variable will never change. I have b plus negative 2b, so this would be a 1 plus negative 2. So that would be negative 1, still a b. So negative 1b. Here I have 4y plus 3y, so 4 plus 3 is 7. So it would be 7y. And then 2 plus negative 4 is negative 2. Once again, check. Your y didn't change. It's not y squared. It stays the same. You have x squared and x squared, so they're like terms. So we go 3 plus 4 is 7x squared. Keep it the same. You have an x squared and an x, so this is not like terms. But I can combine 1x minus 2x, or 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And then I still have the 4 left over and the x squared left over. So this wasn't a like term, this wasn't a like term, so I just leave it on the end. And then I have b minus 2b. These aren't like terms here. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1b plus dx plus the negative 3. So like terms don't change, they're just use that same variable is the biggest thing. So now we're going to finish it up. We're going to combine like terms, or we're going to distribute and then combine like terms. So we go 3 times p, 3 times 6. Negative 4 times 1, negative 4 times p. So I'm multiplying by negative, so that's going to switch the signs. So 3 times p is 3p, 3 times 6 is 18. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 switches the sign of this p to 4p. Now we combine like terms. So I have 3p plus 4p, which would give me 7p, and then 18 minus 4, which is 14. So I just put them in order. Here are my like terms. 3 plus 4 is 7. 18 minus 4 is 14. And now I'm done. That's it. One more. Negative, so we go ahead and distribute. Negative 3 times p squared. Negative 3 times p. Check the sign. The sign right here is negative, so it's going to go negative 2 times p, negative 2, and what I say times negative 2, or negative p squared. So it switches the sign. Was positive, now it's negative. Was positive, now it's negative. Was positive, now it's negative. Was negative, now it's positive. Because you're multiplying by a negative number, switches the sign. Combine like terms. So I'll put it in order, negative 3b squared and 2b squared. 3b and 2b. So negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. The last thing you're going to see is just a word problem. Anytime you see the word quantity, that means we're going to put parentheses. So if we want to write this as an expression, 3 times the quantity, so 3 times parentheses, so we go 3 parentheses, because it's quantity, x minus 5, so x minus 5. Here, write the expression, the product, that means we're multiplying, of 4, and the quantity, 8 more than y. So again, we start out with the product, so 4 times, the quantity means parenthesis, now 8 more. More means to add, 8 plus y, or y plus 8, either way. So you could have switched this. So you could have said 8 plus 1. So what we went over is we went over the distributive property today. Remember, you multiply each number inside the parentheses by what's on the outside. We combine like terms. They have to have same variable, same exponent, and then quantity. So anytime you see the word quantity, that means we're going to put parentheses. Thank you.